Oh, the Browns' 2-game West Coast road trip starts with an L. Not a good feeling on this Monday, but hey, they're still 7-4, still in the thick of things in the AFC. The question is, how many healthy bodies are they going to have moving forward from the Denver loss? Wow. I looked at the list of names, guys. It ain't pretty, and it probably isn't going to be much better for the Rams game. Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Too bad that the Browns couldn't pull out a win in Denver, but as they say, the show must go on no matter who's the quarterback. Shotgun reactions from the loss. G. Bush, I'm going to save you for last. You're simmering right now.
Really?
I'm going to save you for last. I think you're going to go nuts.
I am simmering? I don't know if I was simmering too much.
I don't know. I was reading some of the texts this morning that you sent last night.
Oh, and I was hot. I was hot in the moment. I was hot in the moment. But yeah.
Okay. Bull, what do you got?
So obviously the biggest story of the day, besides the loss, is the injuries. You referenced it already. I think we're all going to be holding our breath to see what's going on. But the reality in terms of quarterback is that I thought DTR was actually playing okay until he got hurt. And then when he got hurt, the entire game fell apart from there. And then every key guy after that just kept getting hurt. And DTR, it's possible he's going to play this week, but I don't think a single quarterback has cleared. Well, that's not true. Brock Purdy is the only quarterback that has cleared concussion protocol within the same week of an injury. So we'll hope. If not, it's going to be Joe Flacco, Jason.
Oh, dear God in heaven.
That's what it's come to.
I can't believe that's where we are, but that's where we are. And, there's 100 different ways we could spin this. And, Bull, I agree. I actually thought DTR's touchdown drive was his coming out party. And I just tweeted, we're going to be talking about that drive for weeks. He was feeling himself. He was gaining confidence. And then he was dead on the field. And it's like, seriously, guys, why can't we just have nice things? But I'm actually going to go a different direction. I never thought they were going to win this game. I picked them to lose on Friday's show. So I'm not overly traumatized by it. And I still think everything's right there in front of them. It was always a race to 10. It's still a race to 10. There's still 3 more wins on this schedule. So I'm not ready to throw everything overboard, hit the panic button and all that stuff. It's going to be okay. This was always a tough game. This was always a tough place to play, a tough venue. So it's really not the end of the world.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think it's certainly not time to hit the panic button. However, I know it's a race to 10. Things are getting pretty muddied in the AFC playoff picture. Denver, we had dirt on them. They've turned it around, completely turned it around.
That could turn out to be a pivotal tiebreaker.
Because if it comes down to Denver and the Browns, they lose out because of that loss.
But you beat Indy, so you have the tiebreaker over Indy, and you got a huge one looming with Houston because Jacksonville's probably going to win the division after yesterday.
It looks like it.
So the Jacksonville, while it's a big one, Houston is even bigger in terms of tiebreakers.
Yeah, they've got to win the Houston game. As I look forward on the schedule, that's the one I've got circled.
Yeah.
I like you, I thought they would lose the Broncos game. They're just a hot football team right now. Denver is playing really good football. It's hard to believe this is the same team that gave up 70.
I know.
Because you talk about a team grabbing itself by the bootstraps and picking itself up. This team has done that. Hats off to Sean Payton. Don't know how he's done it. He kept that crew together when it looked like they were tearing apart at the seams.
And I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but go back to what Mike talked about with this 6-pack of stats on Friday, and he told you this defense since the Miami game is a completely different defense, and he rolled out the numbers, and that's the defense that we saw on Sunday. It wasn't Miami. It was the way that they've played since Miami.
Yeah, the last point I'll make before I'll hand it over to G. Bush, and I think this will probably pivot well into Garrett's comments. You got to know your opponent. You got to know what they do well, and you have to know what they don't do well. And what they didn't do well is stop the run. And why they thought they were going to go into Denver with a very green and inexperienced quarterback and throw the ball all over Mile High and come back with the victory, I'm perplexed by that. I am absolutely flummoxed as to why the game plan was so aerial. Even in the fourth quarter, when it's a 17-12 game, even at that point, when you looked at the numbers, they were way out of balance. 2 throws for every run. And you're in that game up until that point. Serious questions about the play calling. But, these people that are calling for Stefanski's job, simmer down. They're 7-4. He threw an egg. There's no doubt about it. And I think if you gave him truth serum, he would tell you he screwed that one up yesterday. But it's one game. They've got to regroup. They've got to come back against the Rams, which, by the way, is going to be no easy task now that Williams is healthy, and they look like they can run all over everybody right now. Garrett.
Yeah, listen, you look at the rest of the schedule, and there's a funny way that these things play out, right? These things play out like this. You look at a situation when you play the schedule game, you should win that game, you should win this game, you can win that game. But this is the NFL. And the way the NFL works is injuries are part of everything that you're doing. So now you look at the schedule moving forward. A lot of people said, I thought it was going to be a tough game. I picked the Browns to win. But with the way they came out and the game plan they had, I think it put them behind the 8-ball. You look at the schedule moving forward, the Texans are a good football team. Texans are good. Jacksonville is a good football team. The Rams now have Kyron Williams back. It looks like they got Matt Stafford back, and they played well yesterday. You watch the Cincinnati Bengals. They didn't roll over and die for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As you look at all these games, these teams are going to be way tougher opponents because you do not have a quarterback. You don't have the quarterback situation figured out. And which brings me to the thesis. The Cleveland Browns, sometimes it feels like the Browns feel that if they win an ugly game by running the ball and playing solid defense, that they've earned the right the next game to just throw the ball all over the park. That's not an option. Like right now, you have to look at what you got in your stables. You got a guy who's carrying the ball, 7.6 yards per carry, and he only gets the ball, I believe, 9 times. If you look at the run to pass ratio, the Broncos were the home team with the better, more healthier roster, and they came out with the hotter quarterback and ran the ball more than the Browns did with a rookie quarterback. This is just what you're going to get. There are times Kevin Stefanski can play a dangerous game like he did last week, right? And then you come back this week, and the game plan is just different. So for me, the Browns have to look at the mirror and say, okay, if we have this roster, if we don't run the ball and we don't play a certain style of football, we're not going to win these games. It's not as if the Browns are getting healthier, if they're going to get more help, and they're not going to get any more quarterbacks. They have to play a certain type of style to win. That's not optional. I just think they didn't do that in the beginning of the game, and it cost them.